Next we have Tobin, Aldrich.
So I've approached the question of how do you operate this machine by the cunning plan of having just the one slide. I'm fairly confident this will work. So what I want to talk about now is the value of the proposition in fundraising. And at the heart of all great fundraising is the great fundraising proposition. The reason that people will give you the money in the first place. And as James talked about, we've got lovely techniques, we've got really good ideas for how to get money out of people, but none of this works unless we've got the core proposition that's going to make people want to support us. And this is one of the 2 or 3 all-time great fundraising propositions. For £10, you can make a blind man see. How fabulous is that? The tangibility of that proposition, the relationship between the small amount of money and the amazing outcome, the miraculous outcome, is just really, really powerful. But it's also authentic, and we've heard about that a few times already. £10 isn't actually an amount that a direct marketing fundraiser came up with because we reckoned that was that made a good average gift. Actually, £10 is roughly what a cataract operation costs in India, and that takes somebody who is blind and it makes them see. So it is entirely 100% true, and it couldn't be simpler. So I absolutely love this proposition. This example, this advert we're showing, was created by a man called Harold Sumption, who's one of the heroes of fundraising, someone who should be much better known than he probably is. He came up with this advert sometime in the late 1970s when working for Help the Aged. Whether he was the one who actually thought of the proposition is, one of those things that we'll probably never know the answer to. But he was certainly among the first to do that. And this advert takes that proposition and presents it in the simplest, clearest possible way. And also in a way, you could run that advert tomorrow. It would still work. I think Help the Aged, unfortunately, has since changed their name and merged and everything else, and you'd probably put a web address on it. But otherwise, that would work in the newspaper tomorrow. So far, so very obvious. And as fundraisers, we often look at other charities and think, oh well, it's easy for them. It's easy for Help the Aged. They can talk about saving someone's sight for £10, and we've got very complicated things we're doing with tigers or whatever it is. But actually, I think every organisation has got a proposition at the heart of what you're doing that you really can turn into something powerful for donors. Because if you shut your eyes and think about what this advert is raising money for, it's raising money for old people with disabilities in another country. That sounds pretty hard, actually. But creative people, intelligent people thought about this, and they found the proposition at the core of what the charity was doing, and they've taken that out and they've presented it to supporters, and it absolutely works. I think the final point to make about this proposition, this advert, is that the organisation that in the UK that really sort of exploited the value of this core proposition wasn't Help the Aged at all. It was an organisation who in the 1970s were called the Royal Commonwealth Society for the Blind. And they were a terribly worthy organisation that did all sorts of terribly important things that were really quite hard to communicate to you. And some bright spark in the Royal Commonwealth Society for the Blind, said, well, actually, you know, we're doing all this work which is actually supporting cataract operations in India and Africa, and it's making, you know, blind people kind of see. And, you know, wouldn't it be great if we sort of aligned the whole charity and the whole vision of the charity, pardon the pun, and maybe even the name of the charity behind that proposition? And that was when Sight Savers came into being, you know, sometime in the late 1980s. And they're, you know, one of the most successful direct marketing charities in this country, where the name of the charity, the proposition they're promoting, the alignment of the organisation is all behind the core fundraising proposition. And how powerful it would be if more charities were like that and did that. Thank you very much.